Hello and welcome to our webinar, Protecting Against the Top 10 Most Critical API Security Risks. Just some housekeeping rules, please. This webinar will be recorded and sent to you later. If you have any questions during this webinar, please leave us in the chat box and we will answer them right at the end. We will also run a few polls to have your opinion, so we'll really appreciate your participation in those. And right at the end, there will be a satisfaction survey. The box comes up when you close the webinar. So while you leave the webinar, please make sure to leave us your feedback. This will help us improve for future sessions. So let's get started. Just quickly introducing today's speakers, myself, Vera Dushovny, I'm Product Marketing Manager at Rohde & Schwarz Cybersecurity. And here with me today is Nicholas Meyer, our Technical Account Manager. So I will give a short introduction and then Nicholas will explain how Rohde & Schwarz Cybersecurity addresses each of the risks and which features and capabilities of our web application firewall product are the most relevant to counter the API risks. So APIs have become a strategic necessity for all types of enterprises. We all know that they allow to do things better and faster. And it is also known that today more than half of the traffic on the internet is no longer human traffic, human to application traffic, but application to application or machine to machine. So APIs are by default instrumental components of any application architecture, whereas it's microservices, single page applications, SPAs, or mobile applications, or even IoT. You may be surprised to know that an average organization today manages over 400 APIs. And who says more APIs says more attack surface. Just to let you know, recently, just over a month ago, we actually ran another webinar on API security, which was entitled API Security as the Main Challenge of Digital Transformation. And this webinar specifically focused on generic API security, on different compliance and regulatory requirements related to APIs, and Rohde & Schwarz Cybersecurity offering of API security, which is our default option part of the WAF, and extended API security, which is the optional feature of our product. So at this point, I would like to just quickly open the polls to ask you if you participated or already participated in this webinar, or if you would like to have the replay. So you've got three options. Yes, please send me the replay. 2, I've already attended the webinar or listened to the replay. And finally, no, thank you. So this will help our teams send you the link if you're interested. Okay, moving on straight into the core topic of today. Just closing the polls. Thank you for your participation. We'll look into those and make sure to send you the links for those who are interested. So the OWASP it stands for Open Web Application Security Project. It's a worldwide non-profit and independent foundation. So it has this unique position to provide impartial and practical information about application security. And it is most known for its top 10 research, which is usually published every 2-3 years to address the changes in the market. So you have the research from 2013 on the general application risks, and then the next research was published in 2017. So you see that in 2017 release for the very first time included unprotected APIs as a brand new risk. At that time, we obviously didn't have top 10 specifically for APIs, and so you probably know, and hence this is the reason you're here, that it's only recently, just over a month ago, OWASP has officially released OWASP API Security Top 10. So basically APIs now get their own top 10, and this is no surprise considering the evolution of APIs in the market. And so we obviously have a broader web application security risks within the standard research paper of the top 10. And this still makes sense, and OWASP will continue to release those, but API-specific security risks are now also in their own research paper. So this is what we're going to be looking at during this webinar. So the top 10 for APIs, as I mentioned, is obviously very reflective of the changing landscape. APIs are omnipresent and they therefore attract hackers. They represent increased risk as 80% of web attacks today are API driven. And according to Gartner, renowned analysts, by 2022, API abuse will be the most frequent attack vector for the enterprises. So let's just quickly look. Here is a quick design of where the web application firewall sits. So this is, Rohde & Schwarz web application firewall, which is placed between the client and the API service, and it has a very privileged position to secure all the interactions by intercepting and qualifying traffic very early on. So before data hits the rest of the business chain, it can be filtered and ensures that only valid data can be passed through. So at this point, I will hand over to Nicholas, our security expert, to detail each of the OWASP top 10 risks and explain to you how specifically Rohde & Schwarz web application firewall will either mitigate or completely eliminate the risk.
Thank you, Vera. So I'm Nicolas Mayer. I'm a technical account manager for Rohde & Schwarz, and I will have the pleasure to show you the 10 most critical risks identified in this new OWASP top 10 dedicated to API. This is currently a release candidate, so the final version should be available at the end of the year. So we will begin with the first risk, broken level authorization. The idea here is to exploit endpoint that didn't implement correctly object level authorization. And we do that by manipulating the ID of an object and replace it by an ID belonging to another user, for example. And this lack of proper authorization check will allow the attacker to access the specified resource. It's a risk you have also on a web application, on classic web application, and it's also known as IDOR for insecure direct object reference. So one example of this type of attack is Verizon. They use a contract number with auto increment. So an attacker can simply try to increment this ID and will get access to a contract for another person. So now we're going for how we will mitigate this risk. So completely removing this risk is difficult because the truth is it's complex to implement a correct object level authorization for each item. We have some method to mitigate the risk. The first one is to don't trust the ID that the client sent you. It's preferable to validate using a session that this user can access to the resource. Also, you can implement UUID for a universally unique identifier instead of ID that can be incremented by the attacker. And if you have incremental ID, we have a mechanism on our WAF that detects if an attacker tries to enumerate the ID. So on the right, you have a screenshot of this. You can define a log threshold and a block threshold that will block the attacker if, for example, there is a free incrementation of this ID. Another way is to use our module user reputation that will detect abnormal error from the backend. For example, if the backend sends a 401 error, it will detect this behavior, and then we can blacklist the user after a configurable amount of error. So risk 2, we have a broken authentication risk. So the first thing to remind is that the authentication on API is different than on web application. Best practice is to use OAuth2 when accessing API because it contains a lot of security features for protecting the authentication, like the redirect URI, state, and client authentication. So the risk we counter here is to have an authentication server that is not correctly configured with, for example, authentication endpoint not protected against brute force or bad password policy, weak API key. But it can be also on the resource server part. For example, you can have the JSON Web Token, which is the token you use to authenticate yourself. Sometimes the resource server didn't check if the signature is correctly validated. The signature, but it could be also the expiration or also the scope of the access token. So an example of this attack is the first development using OAuth didn't implement correctly the redirectory, because for OAuth, each application must implement the protocol. So if you don't implement correctly the redirectory, you can have an attacker that will change this redirectory, and instead of going to the application after the authentication, you will go directly to the attacker place, and you will have the possibility to steal your access token with that. So how to mitigate this risk? So like the previous one, there is a list of best practice that can be implemented. First of all, the endpoint must be hardened, which include reset password, OTP, and the authentication. You can define rate limit on this sensitive endpoint, with also a temporary blacklisting. For example, if it's not normal to have the same user requesting 10 times a reset password during 1 hour, so you can create a policy to blacklist this kind of behavior. Also, you must authenticate the app that makes the call to your API. So it could be by API key or client certificate. And also we have on our WAF features, which is called sitemap, that will allow you to whitelist the different URL you want to expose, including the payload and the parameter checking. And finally, for me, that is the most important, always validate the signature and the expiration of a token, because if you don't validate the token, anyone can forge a token with the correct attribute, and then they have access to your API. And on this point, if you have legacy backends that are not able to validate JWT token, you can use RWAF, because we have dedicated brick to validate and also to generate a JSON Web Token. And it includes the signature, but of course the expiration, etc., etc. So this case, it's the best way to be sure that you don't let a forged token enter your system. Next risk is excessive data exposure. So we encounter this risk when an API exposes a lot more data than what the client legitimately needs, and let the client do the filtering. This is especially the case when we add a layer of API on top of a legacy backend, and we don't take the time to check what it's needed, what it's required by the client. Of course, it's not a best practice in terms of performance, but it's also not a best practice in terms of security, because we can have admin attribute or also PII, personally identifiable information, inside this payload. And we will see, for example, you can have an API that send you more information. We will see just in this slide. I take the example of the coffee API. You can have the attribute that is required, for example, the coffee balance, last name and surname, and you can have some attribute you enter during the registration, the birth date, social security number or the IBAN. And what you need to do to avoid, to mitigate or avoid this risk is to filter the attribute. So on our WAF, you can define a workflow if the backend is not, if it's not possible to do this filtering on the backend, you can define directly on the WAF to filter the attributes that must not be in the API. So we're going to the next risk, the risk of fall, lack of resource and rate limiting risk. So this risk is also on a web application. We need to consider that we have endpoints that are more sensitive than others. For example, an API that consumes a lot of CPU or memory. And it can also be an API that sends SMS, for example. So for this sensitive endpoint, we must be able to restrict the usage to mitigate the risk. So an example of that is Instagram forgot to implement a blacklisting on his reset password functionality. So there was a rate limit, but not blacklist. So an attacker was able to take over an account using a brute force from multiple virtual machine host on the AWS cloud. So it's a point to keep in mind today. We can use the cloud to perform attack by brute force for a cheaper cost and very easily. So to mitigate the risk, the first is of course to implement request limiter, but you can also add what we call XML or JSON parsing. This will help you in case of you received a payload with some recursive bomb inside the payload. So you have a parser that will check if the XML or JSON are valid and that don't contain a recursive item inside. Also, you can limit the size of the request to protect the backend. And finally, on our WAF, we design a sub-workflow that will allow you to detect if the response size is abnormal by learning what is the standard response size. So, for example, you can have if the response is more than 50% than a normal response, you can define a log threshold, and otherwise you can also define a block threshold if the size is more than 100 than a standard size. Now the next risk, broken function level authorization. This risk frequently occur on legacy applications that are exposed as API on the internet. So an example is you are authenticated as a simple user for the Coffee API, and you can access administrative function just by guessing the admin resources. So this risk is difficult to mitigate because, like the other one, you need to implement a fine-grained authorization, and it's normally done by the application itself. But if you cannot modify the backend, you can implement some mitigation to limit the exposition of administrative function with what we call a sitemap on our WAF. We choose a Swagger file or a learning of the application, and will allow you to say the admin URL is not exposed on the internet. You can also define which HTTP verb is restricted to admin authorization. Next risk is mass assignment. So here the API takes the data that the client provides and store it directly on the database without proper filtering. So it means that during an update of an object or at the creation, the client can pass additional property in the request, like for example, admin equal true, credit equal 1 million, etc., etc. And here you have a sample of an attack. You have an application that requires subscription to access the API. And you have an attacker that tries to create an account with the additional property allow_API_access equal true. And then he received an API key that will enable him to access the API without subscription. So another example here is that we can easily guess from the GET request the attribute credit balance and add it in a PUT request to modify the bank account of John. So how to mitigate this risk? The best is to implement an effective authorization framework. It's always the best solution to mitigate or eliminate this kind of risk. But if you can't modify the backend, you can implement on the WAF schema validation based on JSON or XML schema, which will allow you to enforce the API specification directly on the WAF. And for example, to forbid post requests with specific attribute. And finally, you can use the read-only property, which is available on this schema, for all the properties that cannot be modified, like isAdmin or any admin properties. So that's all for this risk. I will give you a question. For the security of your API, will you consider implementing a schema validation? So I will post the pool. Here it is. So for the security of your API, will you consider implementing schema validation? So yes, on web application firewall for the request and the response. Yes, only for the request. Yes, only on API gateway for request and response, or otherwise, yes, on API gateway for request. I will let you some time to answer this question, and then we will move on the next risk. Okay, so I will let some time. Okay, I will close the pool and share with you the result. So we have 43% here that implement schema validation on the web application firewall for request and response, which is a very good score. Otherwise, we have 29% that implement the same validation on the API gateway, and you have 14 that implement on the API gateway for request only, and also 14 that didn't implement schema validation. So for me, the schema validation is one of best practice to secure the backend and be sure that when you are attending, for example, a Boolean or an integer, you will receive this attribute and not an attack or a forged information. So I will now continue with the next risk. So security misconfiguration. So this category is well known on web application, and we have the same on API. It could be a poor configuration of a web server that expose technical information, the name of the application server, the version, and this information could be used to find vulnerability. If you go on the internet, you will easily find vulnerability for this topic. But it could be also a bad TLS implementation with older protocol, or also unnecessary features that are deployed on the server. All of this could help an attacker who's able to identify vulnerability. So how to mitigate this risk? So the best practice is to, of course, harden the application using security update, change management, removing unnecessary features. Also, you can restrict administrative access by, of course, changing the default password, or also limit the exposition of administrative functionality. For example, using restriction and only tolerate the administrative from a local IP address. And you can also activate what we call the security header, which contain the CSP, content security policy, also strict transport security. All these features that will help you to secure the application and prevent an attacker to perform attack using these features. Next risk is injection. It's also a risk that we have both on API and web application. It could be a classic SQL injection or LDAP, etc., etc. So of course the API are vulnerable on this point because they rely on the same backend. So how to mitigate? So for this point particularly, a web application firewall is clearly the best way to sanitize the data. And ORWAF, especially on the API, have a dedicated workflow to sanitize XML or JSON structure. And also we can enable, depending on the use case, some advanced security engine focusing on SQL injection or zero-day attack. Next risk is improper assets management. In this risk, attacker can find a non-production version of the API, for example, staging, testing, or beta. These versions are not as well protected as the one in production, and sometimes this backend rely on the same SQL backend than the production. So it's an easy way to launch attack from a staging environment to the production. So how to mitigate this risk? There is a bunch of action to take. The first one is, of course, to have a correct segregation of our environment. So the testing must not communicate with production database, for example. Second one is to limit access of private and internal API. And also, a best practice is to have a complete inventory of published API, which one is active, deprecated, disabled. Also, implementing a strict authorization server that will generate a scope, which is that will generate a token that will be valid only on a specific environment. And finally, to mitigate the risk, like the previous risk we see, we can implement schema validation to limit the exposition of testing or deprecated API. Final risk is insufficient logging and monitoring. This will allow an attacker to remain undetected after an attack. So the main reason of that risk is sometimes the logs are not managed or not correctly implemented, like it could be a bad retention policy, no protection of the log, no centralization. So example on the internet, there is plenty of example on the internet on that. You have all the what we call the APT, the advanced persistent threat, that are based on this specific topic. An attacker can remain undetected for several months and gather the data quietly without being detected. So for this one, the best practice is to implement a coring logging functionality in order to, if we have an attack, to be able to identify the attacker. Also, to be careful about the debug log that sometimes remain active on production and can contain sensitive information. Also, implement central logging like security information and event management that will allow you to protect the log and to centralize. And also on this part, on our WAF, we propose a central log system, which includes a Kibana dashboard, and that will help you to identify a security issue, application problem, and also performance. Okay, so this is all for the risk. I will let Vera conclude this webinar.
Thank you, Nicolas, for this very comprehensive overview. So just to conclude, APIs, due to the inherent nature of interconnecting with third parties, are particularly vulnerable. These vulnerabilities can expose sensitive and private data, which can cause serious data breaches. And this can obviously have very damaging impact, very negative impact on any company. So the release of the API Security Top 10 highlights the importance of API security. It hierarchically lists the API risks from the most common and risky vulnerabilities and the ones obviously we've just been through. So RNS Web Application Firewall provides a number of protective measures. So obviously nothing is 100%, it all depends on your environment and how you use your APIs. But in terms of our firewall, there are various features that contribute to mitigating the risks and in some cases completely eliminating it. So you have the use of sitemap, some other things Nicolas went through, such as advanced security engines, schema validation, and also our graphical workflow. This concept that is very specific to Rohde & Schwarz cybersecurity allows to configure special measures, and also we have a set of predefined templates, dedicated workflows and sub-workflows for those who are familiar with the product that can be picked up from the repository and integrated into your environment, which will greatly mitigate API risks. So now it obviously goes without saying that a WAF, whether from Rohde & Schwarz cybersecurity or any other WAF, is complementary to good security hygiene, and obviously by all means you would still need to follow best practices to ensure complete security of your APIs. But let me just open one more poll before we leave you today. Now that you have heard and discovered the top 10 API risks, are you planning to make changes to your API policy? The answers are as follows. 1, yes, but I don't know when. 2, yes, and I would like to be contacted by Rohde & Schwarz cybersecurity. And finally, no, I already have a policy in place to manage these risks. I invite you to vote, please. And we appreciate your feedback and your attention. Okay, let me share the polls. 75% of you would like to make changes. So that's great to know. Obviously, the API security landscape is evolving, and it's good that you're planning to evolve with it. And just very last slide, let me share with you for those who may not know us. So Rohde & Schwarz cybersecurity, we are a European IT security provider with 25 years of experience in various IT security products, including cryptography products, some of which are approved for NATO secret classified, but also Web Application Firewall is one of our flagship products and the one that we've been talking to you about today. We have 9 competence centers in different offices in Germany and France. Our R&D for Web Application Firewall product is based in France. And we're also part of a larger group, Rohde & Schwarz, which is a family-owned business and an independent company, global company. Okay, at this point, this concludes our webinar. So we're going to open for questions. Let us see if there are any questions in the chat. If you still haven't asked your question, you may still do so now. I'm just giving you a few minutes. Please don't hesitate if you've got any questions about the topic we presented. Could you please specify in more detail, what is a sitemap? You talked about it a lot in this webinar.
Yeah. So the sitemap is the functionality inside the WAF that will allow you to import a Swagger file. And the Swagger file is the description file that is generated by the developer of the backend. And we will use this file to validate each parameter, each payload that we will receive on the WAF. So it will allow you to be sure that all the data that come to your backend is sanitized, it's a safe data that has been validated by the specification of the developer. And also this sitemap can be customized. For example, I show some example on that, but you can restrict some part of the application, like the admin, to remove that from the sitemap to eliminate the administrative system from the API, for example.
Thank you, Nicholas. We've got one other question. What do you think about combining API gateway and WAF technologies to reduce the risk?
Yeah, so from a security point of view, we have all the security features that are that you can find on the API gateway. We have all these security features on the WAF, but we don't have all the business features of the API gateway. So, for example, if you want to have a full lifecycle API management, you will need an API gateway. And also, if you want to monetize, to have the possibility to publish, to deprecate an API, this is the kind of feature that is on the API gateway and will not be available on a WAF, of course.
Thank you. Okay, this concludes our webinar for today. Thank you all for attending, and please don't forget to complete the satisfaction survey as you leave this webinar.
Thank you.